Taurus, this reading feels like two people standing at a crossroad because there is a conversation that has not happened yet, a truth that has been delayed, a decision that has been avoided. And the longer it remains unspoken, the heavier it seems to become. What fascinates me about this energy is that neither person appears careless. In fact, quite the opposite. Both the people have been thinking, analyzing, trying to understand what is real and what is not. But June feels like the month where thinking stops being enough. Because by the end of this reading, I see clarity arriving. I see emotions finally meeting logic. And I see a truth that changes the direction of a connection. So let's get into this reading and find out what June has for you in the context of love and career. Welcome back to your reading, Taurus. The first thing I hear when I look into your cards is that both of you know more than you are saying, because the energies around this connection feels incredibly intelligent, very aware, very observant. Nobody here is acting blind. Nobody here is unaware of what's happening. Yet, somehow, despite all this awareness, important things remain unspoken. The King of Swords and the Queen of Swords immediately caught my attention in here, because these cards don't show me emotional chaos. They show me two people who are trying to remain logical, trying to stay composed, trying to make decisions with their head instead of their heart. And the interesting thing is that both people seem to be mirroring each other. If one pulls back, the other pulls back. If one stays silent, the other stays silent too. If one waits, the other waits. It's almost like both people are standing on opposite sides of a bridge, waiting for the other person to take the first step. But Taurus, underneath all this logic, I see something much deeper. The lovers, and this changes everything. Because despite appearances, this connection is not casual. This isn't someone you easily forget. This isn't a connection that simply fades away. The lovers speaks of choices, soul-level attraction, emotional significance, the kind of connection that forces people to confront what they truly want. And honestly, I don't think that that's been easy for you guys. Because the stronger the connection becomes, the harder it is to pretend it doesn't matter. The harder it becomes to stay detached. The harder it becomes to keep everything intellectual. Someone here has been trying to rationalize feelings that refuse to be rationalized. And lately, it's creating pressure, a lot of pressure, because with the Ace of Swords, this feels like the truth breaking through. Honestly, the moment where confusion finally clears, I feel somebody wanting answers, wanting to know exactly where they stand. No more guessing, no more assumptions, no more reading between the lines. Just truth. And June feels like the month where that truth begins to emerge. For some Tauruses, this may be a conversation, and for others, it may be a confession. For some, it may simply be someone finally admitting what they have been known all along. But either way, clarity arrives. Now, here is where the energy becomes lighter, because after all this mental tension, the Three of Cups finally enters into your love life. And suddenly I see communication flowing more naturally. I see reconnection, celebration, laughter returning where stress once existed. For some of you, this could represent a reunion, a meeting, an invitation, or simply the restoration of emotional closeness. There is joy attached to this card. And after everything that has been building, that joy feels well earned. But before we reach that point, there is one final energy that cannot be ignored. The Nine of Swords. Because someone has been carrying anxiety, late night thoughts, overthinking, fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear of making the wrong decision. This card tells me somebody has been suffering more in their mind than they have in reality. They are imagining every possible outcome, every possible risk, even every possible disappointment. And honestly, Taurus, I think they are exhausted. Exhausted from worrying, exhausted from analyzing, exhausted from carrying uncertainty. And that's why the Ace of Swords feels so important in here. Because truth becomes the cure of your confusion. The moment clarity arrives, much of this anxiety begins to dissolve. And by the end of June, Taurus, I don't see people running from the truth. I see them moving towards it. Either you or your person are changing. They are welcoming a change. You are welcoming a change. And that's where everything begins to move forward in life. Taurus, concerning your career, it feels like a month of important decisions and powerful conversations. At the beginning of June, I see some of you evaluating something carefully. You are not rushing, you are not acting impulsively. You are gathering information, analyzing options, trying to determine the smartest path forward. With the King of Swords energy, it feels like authority, leadership, professional confidence. I see many of you stepping into situations where your expertise is finally being recognized. People are listening more closely. Your opinions carry weight. Your knowledge matters, and you are beginning to realize just how valuable your skills truly are. Now, with the Queen of Swords energy, it indicates that boundaries are important. You are learning to say no, learning to protect your time, learning to stop giving energy to situations that doesn't deserve it. And this shift is incredibly powerful, my friends. Because once you stop wasting energy on distractions, your focus becomes sharper, your goals become clearer, your progress accelerates. And with the Ace of Swords energy, it feels like a breakthrough professionally. Important information coming, a decision, an offer, a contract, or even an opportunity is coming in your career. Something is becoming clear that was previously uncertain in your life. And when it does, you know exactly what your next move needs to be. I also love to see the Three of Cups here, because this tells me you are not succeeding alone. Supportive people appear around you. Networking becomes beneficial for you. Teamwork improves. Recognition increases. Some Taurus may even have a reason to celebrate professionally by the end of this month. But Spirit wants you to pay attention to the Nine of Swords, my friends. Because your biggest obstacle may not be external, it may be internal. You may have self-doubt, overthinking, and worst case scenario thinking. You may be worrying about things that haven't happened yet, preparing for problems that may never arrive. And June keeps showing me the same message again and again. Trust what you have already built. Trust your experience. Trust your abilities. You are far more prepared than you realize. The moment you stop second guessing yourself, your path becomes much clearer. So, Taurus, the message for June is simply very, very powerful. In love, truth replaces uncertainty, and in career, confidence replaces self doubt. The connection you have been analyzing begins to move towards clarity. The situation you have been questioning begins revealing answers, and the anxiety you have been carrying begins to lose its power. Because the lesson of June is this: what is meant for you does not require endless guessing. So, this is all about for the month of June, my friends. I shall meet you next month. If this message resonates for you this month, go ahead and comment for me. I would like to know your story. Thank you. Bye bye.